In this video, we'll be counting down the best things to do in the beautiful city of Basel, Switzerland, saving a unique spot for last where you can achieve the impossible and be in 3 countries at once. Be sure to stick around until the end as well for a free map with all these spots saved, along with other recommendations like photo spots and where to eat. Now, in case you're new here, hi, I'm Christina from happytowander.com. And this channel is all about practical travel advice from someone who's been there, done that. So be sure to like and subscribe if that sounds like your kind of thing. We'll start with an easy one, and that is to check out the iconic Rathaus. This town hall is the starting point for most first-time visits to Basel. And the reason is simple. It is outrageously photogenic. Situated on Marktplatz, this 500-year-old beauty was constructed to replace the original seat of government for Basel, which was destroyed in one of the most devastating earthquakes in recorded history back in 1356. And yes, centuries later, it remains a functional government building. Made of a distinctive and striking red sandstone, with playful fresco paintings all over the exterior walls and courtyard, this is truly one of the prettiest and most unique town halls to visit in Europe. So be sure to take some time to explore and go beyond just admiring it from the square. The courtyard area is especially worth a look. It is of course free to gawk and gape at all the pretty frescoes, but if you time your visit correctly, you can also enjoy short guided tours on Saturdays for just 10 Swiss francs. And when you're done, you can check out the many produce stalls in Marktplatz, where a daily market has been taking place in this very spot for centuries. Now, if you're a fan of the whole red sandstone vibe, let's tackle our next Old Town must-do, which is to admire the Basler Münster and its beautiful cloisters. This iconic cathedral with its twin towers, colorful roof tiles, and red sandstone facade is by far one of the most dominant pieces of the Basel skyline. Even more impressive than its fiery red color, though, is the fact that a church has stood in this very spot for over 1,000 years, with today's current iteration largely a product of post-earthquake rebuilding. Crowds inevitably find themselves at the spot whenever they visit, especially during the festive period, when this church becomes the prettiest backdrop ever for one of the city's most magical Christmas markets, complete with dozens of festive stalls selling all sorts of handmade goods and treats right here in Münsterplatz. But year-round, visitors can admire the peaceful cloisters of the cathedral, where you'll find the final resting place of many prominent Basel residents, as well as the somewhat controversial bronze Marktische sculptures depicting market stalls, originally intended for a fountain in Marktplatz, but ultimately installed here in 2010. I'll link the story in the description because it is quite the wild ride. Of course, while you're in the area, it would be rude to not admire the inside of the stunning cathedral as well. Today, one of the most significant sites here is the tomb of Erasmus, one of the most famous scholars in European history. So famous was his work that some say by the 1530s, his writing actually accounted for 10 to 20% of all the book sales in the entire continent. And his name is even used today for the EU's flagship international study/work program, which sends over 200,000 people abroad every year. Of course, there's still plenty more to see both above and below. For instance, if you went down to the church's crypt, or if you were to brave the 250 steps up to admire the views from one of the cathedral's towers. Now, after admiring the Münster from every possible angle, before you descend its epic hill, don't miss another key Basel must-do, which is to admire the amazing views from the Pfalz Terrace. Located just behind the cathedral, this terrace provides stunning views over Basel and the Rhine River, with a relaxing atmosphere perfect for trying to spot locals swimming. Now, with these main sites out of the way, your next must-do is to meander through the pretty streets of Altstadt, or the Old Town. With over 2,000 years of history under its belt, Basel's Old Town is packed with charming historic buildings to ogle and plenty of winding cobbled alleyways to prance through. While best explored freely while taking your time, here are some key sites to help anchor your sightseeing. To make things easy, it is helpful to know that today the boundaries of the Old Town are marked by Basel's 3 remaining city gates. St. Johannstor in the north, today actually home to the city's police force. St. Albantor in the southeast, where you could admire some pieces of the old city wall, as well as a medieval paper mill close by. As well as the splendid Spallantor in the west, rightfully considered one of the most beautiful gates in Switzerland, with 2 rounded turrets on each side and a colorful roof. But even more fun might be to climb it for its unique views. Contained within this historic heart of the city, you'll find some of Basel's most famous landmarks, as we've already discussed. But there's a ton of beauty in the smaller side streets, which are packed with hidden squares and hundreds of fountains. The city even offers free audio tours that you can download to help structure your frolics according to a theme. But if you're looking for a nice place to start, the Rheinsprung is an iconic street that connects the stunning riverside of Mittlere Brücke, one of the city's most famous bridges, with the Basler Münster. Along this road, you'll find plenty of charming historic buildings, including former homes and offices of silk ribbon moguls. And a serious leg workout thanks to the street's legendary steepness. Those fond of leg workouts might also like the unique view up the steps at Stapfelberg. Or you can check out the bustling Barfüßerplatz, home to another one of Basel's top Christmas markets in the winter, and the Basel Historical Museum inside Barfüßerkirche year-round. In fact, other branches of this museum can also be found close by, like the Museum of Music. On that note though, if you have time, definitely check out one of the Old Town's many museums. After all, there is a reason that Basel is considered the cultural capital of Switzerland. This compact city is home to about 40 museums, meaning you are definitely spoiled for choice, regardless of your interests. There is, for instance, the Kunstmuseum Basel, which is nonchalantly said to be home to the world's oldest public art collection. But close by, you'll also find the Swiss Architecture Museum, adorably abbreviated as SAM, which tackles exhibitions related to contemporary architecture. There's also the Museum of Cultures, which is dedicated to global artifacts, and other gems in the University District, like the Botanic Garden and Pharmacy Museum. One of my favorite easy-to-miss gems, though, is the Husseinsag Museum, also known as the Pants Pocket Museum. This is the smallest museum in the city, with a rotating collection of exhibitions in a window spanning no more than 2 by 2 feet. Since 1995, this museum has displayed various everyday items, from hockey pucks and wooden spoons to miniature London double-decker buses. And these days, anybody can apply to have their collection displayed in the window for a 1-month period, so long as the objects are no bigger than one's palm. As well as art inside museums, though, there's plenty of art all around the city to admire, the most prominent of which is fountains. So, while in town, be sure to go fountain spotting, or even fountain bathing if you can. With over 300 public fountains in Basel, it's safe to say that their unofficial nickname, City of Fountains, is well earned. The most prominent one is definitely the Tinguely fountain, located where a theater once stood and now featuring 10 moving characters mimicking the performance of mimes, actors, and dancers. There are plenty more fountains to see though, all with their own unique designs. From the so large people swim in it fountains like the Gemsbrunnen, to the ornately colorful little ones like the Zevigelbrunnen, which stands by the city archives. You'll even find beautiful wall fountains like the Nischenbrunnen. And yes, believe it or not, locals do bathe in these fountains when the weather is warm enough. Now, if that sounds like your idea of fun, another must-do is to spend some time in, on, or along the Rhine. This legendary river, which flows from the Swiss Alps to the North Sea, is at the heart of Basel local life. So, needless to say, you need to be spending at least some time enjoying its idyllic charms. A peaceful walk along the river would, of course, be a must. But for the most local possible experience, you might actually want to go for a dip. Because yes, when the weather cooperates, it is indeed quite common to see locals swimming in the Rhine with a little waterproof bag known as a Wickelfisch, which keeps their belongings safe as they float down the river. You can even buy your own as a fun practical souvenir. But for those of us who don't quite feel ready to hurl ourselves into a river without any support, there are also some bathing houses conveniently located on the riverbanks, along with some familiar and comforting amenities. For a more relaxing river experience, there are also tons of boat tours along the river that you can do, allowing you to admire all the famous landmarks from an exciting new perspective without even needing to move, which, if you ask me, is quite glorious. But perhaps most unique is crossing the river with one of Basel's special river ferries, which are unique in that they are attached to a long cable made of wire and rely solely on the current of the river to take them where they need to go. Best of all, this is a budget-friendly activity costing only 2 Swiss francs per crossing for adults. Now, once you're on the other side, you get to unlock even more fun Basel activities, including one of my personal favorites, which is to explore Kleinbasel. This more relaxed part of town may not be as popular as its more tourist-treaded counterpart Großbasel across the river, but that is exactly what makes a visit here all the more special. While once considered a more working class and therefore uncool neighborhood, today Kleinbasel is where you'll find tons of great coffee shops, bakeries, and restaurants, with impressive river views, especially along its own little Altstadt area. And there's a variety of fun cultural spaces as well, like the Kaserne Basel. One of my favorite things to do on this side of the river, though, is to admire kinetic art at the museum Tinguely, which, true to its name, casts a spotlight on Jean Tinguely, one of the most famous and influential artists in Swiss history. His specialty? Kinetic sculptures, which you'll get plenty of hands-on experience with at this museum, where you can activate all these moving sculptures with just the press of a button, creating some really cool and unexpected surprises, some of which even made me jump. This is the largest collection of Tinguely's work in the world, so definitely worth checking out. Of course, for those with the time, you can't leave Basel without taking a bit of time to admire all the incredible architecture. Widely recognized as Switzerland's capital of architecture, there is so much more to see in Basel than just the charming historic buildings of Old Town. In fact, Basel has quite a unique modern side too, with the tallest skyscrapers in the country, and plenty more exciting contemporary structures like the incredible Messe, or exhibition hall. You can, for instance, head out to the Fondation Basler, an art museum that focuses on the collection of Hilde and Ernst Basler, one of the world's most famous Swiss art dealers and collectors. And it sounds weird to recommend a little corporate campus, but the Novartis campus close to the French border in Basel is a stunning collection of buildings designed by some of the world's most renowned contemporary architects, with an interactive pavilion on site, as well as exhibitions devoted to the wonders of medicine. Finally, one of the most exciting things about Basel is you can very easily explore 3 countries in a single day. Yes, there are only a few places in the world where you can stand in 3 countries at once, and one of those happens to be Basel. The Dreilandhoek is a monument in the middle of the River Rhine, which marks the meeting point of the borders of Switzerland, France, and Germany. Though it's a little far from the historic center, during the summer you'll find lots of pop-up bars and hangout spots all around it, making it a nice destination in itself if you have time. But beyond just checking this symbolic monument off your bucket list, what's even more fun is actually hopping over the border to sightsee. For instance, just across the German border, you can visit the stunning Vitra Design Museum, one of the world's most respected design museums. Or over in France, you're only a few hours away from the fairy tale villages and vineyards of the Alsace. So, if you're feeling ambitious, why not do breakfast, lunch, and dinner in different countries? Alright, thanks so much for watching. You can check out this link here for a free map to all the spots mentioned, and be sure to like and subscribe for more travel videos just like this one. I'll see you next time. Bye!